Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. I'm Ross Morasso here with returning guest, Joseph Abutros Agape, clairvoyant, artist, best-selling book author. And I could probably go on, but we'll get into more of this stuff. Joseph, how are you today?
Very good. How are you, Ross?
I'm good. Now, you're the owner of Soul Vision Awakenings, and I see some of your paintings in the background. I assume those are yours, and I want to talk about those soon. But tell me a little bit about Soul Vision Awakening.
Soul Vision Awakening actually is something I created 35 years ago, but it went through different transformation of names. So it went one name, then it outgrew the name, and then it goes from one name to name, and it landed the last 4 years as Soul Vision Awakening. And Soul Vision Awakening is really to look into the core foundation of it is to heal the childhood experiences. We all went into some nonsense at childhood. We all went into some feelings of whatever it is, and we all stuck with them. That's where the problem is. We all stuck with them, and we build up a program in our head that to fix all of these, it's a life process. No, it's not. That's a wrong program. And it's not a long process because it's not, you just finished your life because you went through some headache in the beginning. You're here to do something else in your life. So this is where Soul Vision, to bring the vision bigger than the problem that you think you have, and to take from the relationship, from the personal life, from anything you have, and start outgrow yourself and start living instead of keep whining about what happened to you.
That's pretty broad and pretty grandiose, right? But you've been at this now for, as you said, 35 years. So who would be a typical client of yours that would come calling that you work with?
To be honest, I have clients from everything. I have from 16 years old to 77 years old. The majority I have are women because they were more open-minded to work on themselves than men. And recently, I've been receiving more men that start to get awakened themselves to start doing bigger things in their life, to change their life. And I have a lot of women that start bringing their partners with them to the calls. So, and there's this different integration, but I cannot say I'm focused only on one type of a client. I have women, I have single women, I have married women, I have divorced women, I have CEOs, I have any walk of life, because I'm dealing with the childhood experiences. We all went through that. So it's not like if you are a CEO, you don't have any childhood drama that happened before, or you don't feel I'm not good enough, or I'm not this, or I'm not that. So it is something that we all have it, but it doesn't matter what you do.
You reference this term awakening, right? So that's not just me waking up in the morning. I think we all got that part. But in your mind, right, what does that mean when it comes to awakening, and what does it look like when we're not, fully awake?
Okay. We live in life. If you're living into a routine every day, you do the same thing. You wake up, you put your shoes, your pantoufle or whatever it is on your feet, and you go to the bathroom, brush your teeth, you take a shower, and then you might have some coffee, or and you go back to work. That's routine. That's called I'm doing the same thing every single day, waiting in line when I'm gonna be dying. Seriously, is that life altogether? There's no excitement. There's no living in it. You're only doing your routine day-to-day work, but you're not gaining anything back as stimulating for your life and what your life is all about. So that is the routine. And we came to this life. Unfortunately, we had to sign soul agreements with many different people, and started from our mom and dad. Those are the biggest soul agreement we sign up for. And they're supposed to give us certain headaches in order to outgrow them, not to be stuck with them. It's not a life sentence, our childhood is not life sentence. I want to emphasize on that. It's not a life sentence. But our soul came in here to bring some more awakening of things that you might be doing yourself You think I'm a DJ today, I work into a station, but there's something else for you to do that you're not even paying attention into it. It's sitting, passing you every day, but you're not seeing it because
So,
you're not opening yourself a little bit up to see the bigger picture.
I understand more now, like about aliveness. Where's that spring in our step? How come we're not jumping out of our bed, right? We're just more like being robots.
Yes, we are. But the awakening is gonna be reviving you to say, I'm here to do this to enlighten humanity. And I'm more big. I had the opportunity, thank God for the opportunity, for the blessing I'm receiving to be able to see something that everybody normal in life, they're not even looking at it. So I can help them with it. But we're all sitting, watching TV and doing nothing.
Now, for those of you who have tuned in with us here, you can reach Joseph at soulvisionawakening.com. You're based out of Vancouver, beautiful area, however, available anywhere in the world. And I want to touch on something that you were just talking about, these soul contracts that we have with our parents and very other people. So briefly, what's the concept of that for people that aren't aware of this?
Okay, so like there's one thing I say it in my public speaking, and I say, when you're just coming out of the womb of your mom and they bringing you out and you open your eyes and you look everywhere around you and you start crying. Now, medical, they give you a term, but me in my terms, I say it, you start crying because you said, oh no, not you again. What am I doing here? Because that's a soul contract. That means there is something I haven't fulfilled yet with those energies of people. I haven't maintained my attainment to free myself from that. So I have to do some obliged work with them in order to free myself from that energy. Otherwise, I'm stagnating. That's where the contract signed by the soul before we even come here, and you volunteer to take the job yourself. Because you're aware of your mom for several lifetimes ago, you're aware of your dad for several times ago, and you've been doing the same thing back and forth to each other for the last 10, 20 years, 20 lifetime, I mean. And you're here now to cut that link. It's not that you're going to cut people from your life, you're going to cut the energetic link that's been dragged for several lifetimes, that we can remove it. And the second part from the soul agreement is to start making newer choices in life, not to stuck with its old choices, to have newer choices to bring you forward in life and
So
find the meaning of your life.
Using the metaphor there, like of cutting the cord sort of thing, if you end up in these soul agreements for too long, and by the way, it sounds like you're declaring that we revisit this universe over and over again. But if we stay attached to these agreements for too long, can that also be a component that is a drain on your aliveness and your awakening?
Big time, big time. It's a huge way of, it's very essential to cut those agreements because they absolutely have no energetic field to make you progress forward. On the contrary, it's making you to be stuck. And that's not helping you in any form or way. I mean, what's the point of my life is like I'm living the routine life and the whole thing. And what the people think if cutting, if I live in New Jersey today, I'm going to get out from home because I'm getting sick and tired of home or whatever it is. I moved to California. Really? That means, did you cut that way? You didn't cut. You're bringing your problem from Jersey, you put them in California. And you're gonna start attracting people in California to keep reminding you of the energy of your mom and dad in Jersey.
So
because that's where the patterns start to fall.
So geography, we're just fooling ourselves. So this sort of connection that we have, this transcends space and time then.
Yes, because there is no time that we are into a space, and that space energy is flowing everywhere. So the only suggestion is we have to energetically make sure that we cut that energy. I'm doing it with a total blessing, even not with anger. I need to do it with compassion, universal love, and peace, because I want to bring peace to me, and I want to bring peace to my mom and dad also, because they're suffering the same way we're suffering, but in an indirect proportion. It's not, but because Look, if you ask your dad from soul agreement to bring you an experience of rape, for example, and that's a person you love, that means you're here to learn about 100% of forgiveness to your soul, to yourself. You want to learn about forgiveness. That means it's gonna be another experience you're gonna go after. So your dad said, I don't want to have this job from the other side. But then your mom, you're asking also, you want to learn to trust. Your mom said, I'll show you the trust myself because I'm going to be working with that. So if mom said, I'll work with you on the trust, that means your dad's stuck with the other experience. Now, if your dad's stuck with the other experience, what happened here? We always think, I'm a victim. I am a victim. I am a victim. So come look at me. I'm the victim here. But we never thought of what dad feels for him to do the thing that he did to us when, from a soul agreement, didn't like to do it. But it was forced on him. But what he was thinking, how much he had to drink in order to do it, because for him to forget.
So I wonder
and not
then.
feel what he's doing. Yeah.
I wonder then, Joseph, if we sort of, for lack of a better term, keep messing this up and we start piling on many lives and the same soul agreements are there, that, frustration would start to creep in on a cosmic level. So if you start, repeating this a little bit too many times, this relationship goes too long, this contract or agreement you're saying, does it become harder and harder to complete?
Every single time, because now you're experienced. You're experienced with it, so you have some flag on your shirt now. I've done it 20 times already, and that's where it is. Do you remember the Matrix?
Of course.
When Neil went into the creator of the whole Matrix, the whole things in front of him, he said, you're the version number 16. That means this is 16 times he's been coming here.
Right. So
we have to watch the Matrix again. You have a lot of nuggets in it.
Right, because he seems so profound in his 16th journey, but he learns that it's actually pretty pedestrian, right? He's not really that much closer at that point in the story to actually making any progress for himself. So I would now assume that this is where somebody like you can come in to assist us, right?
Yeah. Well, I do it through meditation. It's a very simple way, but I don't do it for life. It's not something we have to drag ourselves for life, and we forget we have a life to live. We have to do it in a very concise, very short period of time, and let's clear it out. And I will suggest maybe 20 weeks to finish it, and let's clear out and let's start living. Let's find out what's my joy in life. What's my things that contribute for me to be happy, instead of keep dragging myself. I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I'm all these nonsense, but for what? Now, that doesn't make sense.
We may not know, though, that part of what is in our way and robbing us of our aliveness is these unfulfilled soul agreements, right? So, but we probably can recognize the fact that we feel drained, where life is frustrated. We know deep down what a lot of hopes and dreams might be, and they're not in front of us, right? Probably further robbing.
Right. Yeah.
So how is it when somebody works with you that you can get to the root causes of what's going on?
I'll take them through one small meditation, and that meditation maybe 5-10 minutes even. I'll ask him to bring me an inner child that's between the age of 3 to 9. And I'll ask them how they see that inner child. Is that inner child happy? Is it angry? Is it frustrated? Is it excited? What type of inner child? Most of the time, if somebody want to put me a mask in front of them, they tell me, oh, he was so happy or she was so happy. I said, okay, what's the feeling underneath happy? Oh, she's sad. Now we start to get to the truth of it.
Interesting. So, okay, for those of us who joined us a little bit late, I'm talking with Joseph Boutros Agape, clairvoyant, book author, artist, also, if I can say, spiritual teacher, healer as well along the way. You can find him at soulvisionawakening.com, wherever you are in the world. So something I mentioned a clairvoyant again, because I only briefly said that in the beginning. You had your first clairvoyant experience early in life. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I saw that looked really interesting. Go ahead.
Yes, I mean, I grew up in Lebanon, and from a Catholic family. I was living in a Jewish neighborhood, growing up in a Jewish neighborhood, and that Jewish neighborhood is in a Muslim city, really. So I have the three religions over my shoulder, and we have three books sitting for each religion to look at it. But I was so bored. I said, "What on earth am I doing here?" From age from age 5 to 8, I said, "What am I doing here, really?" And it's like we have all three religions, they're fighting each other, and at the
Mm,
same time, they believe in the same God, really. That's called contradiction. And it didn't make sense at that time for that age. And I said, there must be something to be done. Otherwise, what's the point for me to stay here? And at the age of 8, I was sitting at the beach. I gazed and really gazed into the sun for so long. And I don't advise anybody to do that because it can be dangerous. I took a chance on myself, and suddenly I had an explosion in front of my eyes. I thought I lost my eyes,
mm,
technically. So, but half an hour later, I got start to see again. And but from that point, from age of 8 till age of 15, I've seen all my life. I've seen everything. I've seen this period we went through COVID and everything, but it wasn't called COVID. But there was something's gonna happen at that time, and eventually I start talking about it before it happens. Eventually here, and I did one painting on 2022, and the painting expressed that there will be some programming to be done in that year. So, and that's what happened. So I've seen all my life. At the age of 15, everything stopped. I stopped seeing anything. Now they introduced girls in school. So once they introduced, the priority changed. So we have to start living life as normal. And but I've seen everything lay down in front of me. What I'm doing, what I'm growing up as, and what's major stuff happening in the world even, and all was in front of me. Now at the age of from 15 to 25, I went into the US and studied electrical engineering. I did a master in computer science in New York. And then 3 months into graduation from both those degrees, I quit. I said, that's not for me.
mm.
I need to do something else. So I moved from New York City to Montreal, Canada. And in Montreal, Canada, that one event happened in front of me that forced me to get back into my spiritual uh, life and start getting more involved into the spirituality. Now, it wasn't waste of time, my education, because from electrical engineering, I learned about amps, voltage, and frequencies. And at the same time, amp, voltage, and frequency is exactly that energy, vibration, and frequency. So I use it in a metaphysical term. And from the computer science, I learned how to program, deprogram, and this is what I use in my healing work, how to change commands. And that's where it opened up different aspects to things. And I started into my spiritual journey from 27 until now. I never stopped.
Can
But
you expand
the
on that a little
ignition
bit?
started.
The rewiring, you had talked about, you were just referencing that in terms of your frequencies and everything. You know, one of the journals that you
Yeah.
have is I Choose, a journal to rewire your subconscious with total ease. So, what does that mean about like
Yeah.
rewiring a human being?
Look, you you always keep repeating to yourself, I'm not good enough. I'm not
Mm,
good at anything. I'm not good in love. I'm not good in anything. So that's a wire already in your mind. It's repeated all the time. Now, when I had a small business in computer repairs. Now, when we have those gigantic old TV, if you remember them, that they have the back in the back, there's 30,000 kilovolt. One zip of that, you're finished
yeah.
because it's not a joke. So when you have a TV coming with the fuse keep pumping up and blow up, and you keep replacing it, then you start need to test the board. So you test, you see there's a resistor is not working, you change it, but still pumping the fuse. But when you start looking closer, you find a line into the board is burnt, completely burnt. So what we
Mm,
do is I rewire that and make it from a different way to get the same, but I bypassed completely the old wire, the old programs that I used to have. And as a science, the doctors, they will tell you, Once you're focusing, your brain is start to see some new traffic into another line of a program that you're building, it will disregard the first one.
So, as a clairvoyant or anyone that has gifts that allow them further connections to the universe outside of our sort of physical realm,
We all are. We all are.
So maybe
We
just
are,
some people are
we
more
are
present to it, right?
because we're not a human being, we are a spiritual being. One part of us is connected to the soul. We disregard that. We already put that on the side a long time ago. We are a spiritual being. I have a program called Self-Love, Love of Self, and Forgiveness. Self-love is about your human experiences. Love of self is about your soul love to you, and to merge them together in order to bring out your forgiveness of the self-love that you've been avoiding that part of who you are. So I do that in the healing. I can do it in that program. I do the healing in time travel and visioning 2022 and beyond. And this is starting, this program starting on December 30th. It's 6 weeks, but we're going to clear up dad, mom, and everything else. We're going to close the agreements through going into time travel backward in order to start closing. And it takes one session. It's not like we're going to spend 60 days into doing one thing. We're wasting time, to be honest. We all wasted time, so much time. And we need to learn to forgive that period and move on in order to start accepting to receive some new stuff for our life and change our life. Because if I ask you, Ras, right now, what, other than what you're doing now, what you like, what you enjoy, you might say, I like to have some beer, watch football. Great. But go deeper than that. What's your dreams when you were 6, 7 years old? You say you had a fantasy or something about something, but then somebody crushed it for you, said, oh, stop thinking, that's silly stuff. Stop thinking about it. But that silly stuff is still surrounding you till now, waiting for you to open the door and bring it in.
Would you almost liken it that this sort of baggage we have, right? That it's holding space so that it can actually prevent, the aliveness from coming in.
Yes, big time. Because your mind always think about that crap.
So that has to be cleared out first. Like that's almost like step one.
Yeah, this is the first step and the easy step, by the way. It's not that hard a step. It's the easiest step. Why we get sick? Really, why we get sick? Is it written in our dictionary that when we had on our forehead, you have to get this disease or that disease? No. We get sick because we've been resisting so much our life that our body doesn't know what to do anymore. And wants to bring us attention. Do something about your life, for God's sake. Because it's the last stage, the sickness. It's like, I'm going to go to the God's waiting room, waiting for my turn to leave. But that's not life.
It's a pretty gloomy outlook there. Not one I don't think me or anybody listening right now would want to have for themselves. As you talk about sickness, I notice on your website, instead of saying disease, you talk about a spiritual dis-ease. Yes. Why do you phrase it in that way?
Because I don't want to have somebody to program in their head that it is a disease, I'm finished. You're not finished. We're going to take the dis and ease, that ease. I want to bring the ease to the disease instead of making, because to me, technically till now, doctors won't agree with it. Disease is not the problem you have. Disease is a symptom for something you've been really resisting to let it go. And I've seen many people healed instantly because it's not a disease that is carved in your body forever. It is dis-ease. And once you start bringing the dis into the ease into the dis, it will remove everything that is sitting underneath it. And you start seeing a gloomy, different picture. Because this, if you take it from a numerology, this is equal 14, 5. It's a 14, which 1 plus 4 equal to 5. And that's about freedom. Bring the ease and you'll get your freedom.
You mentioned that about this being a numerologist. I found that to be a very interesting term. Explain to all of us a bit, since you've talked about these numbers, how numerology interacts with your support and spiritual healing with everybody.
Everybody, when I see them the first time, I need to go through a numerology chart, because they tell me I have this problem, I have that problem. I don't listen to what anybody tell me what's their problem, because they're gonna tell me rubbish stuff of what they know today. But that's not the problem to me. The problem is what happened at a younger age that made you become that way today. So the numerology chart is based on your name and date of birth. That's unique to you. So if I take your name and date of birth, I add them together, I put everything, I'll have 3-4 pages of a chart, calculated chart, and then I'll explain it to somebody what exactly it means. Because it's a blueprint that your soul already designed for you to live and go through it. But we keep sabotaging ourselves through changing our name all over the place. If you're not aware what you're changing to, then it becomes difficult. Like women they're getting the big rap out of that because they keep changing their name every time they get married. And their experience is to change every time, for the good or for the worse.
So changing a name can actually mean much more than just what's written on your driver's license.
Oh, big time. Big time. And sometimes I'll put one letter for somebody in their name, and their name switch like this. Completely. One letter. Doesn't need to take more than one letter. So sometimes we have to see what we're stuck into and how we can vibrate things to make it smooth, much easier. The moment you start changing into your environment, the whole environment would change. You're inducing something new, and energy is so fast. It's like a switch. It's like you put the light on and off. That's energy. That's how it's gonna be. It's like it's immediate response to the environment that you give it in. You want dark, then put it off. You want light, put it on. And that's all what's the difference. So it will switch instantly. And people will start realizing immediately when they start having the switch, if they adopt the switch all the time.
You know, normally I wouldn't say this when we're doing a program, but I've actually been contemplating changing slightly the spelling of my last name, because so many people keep messing it up all the time. And so there was an element of me wondering, maybe they're not messing anything up. So maybe I look you up and we can explore that a little bit more. We only have a couple of minutes left. So any final thoughts or words to anybody listening today? I do want to say that you can find Joseph Gabi at soulvisionawakening.com. He mentioned there is a program starting on December 30th. This looks like very, very powerful stuff. So I highly recommend you check it out. I have
one starting December 20th.
Oh, December 20th. Okay.
Yeah.
So final thoughts?
Final thought, look, life is simple. We make it complicated. As simple as that. How much you want to complicate it is your choice. How much you want to simplify it is your choice too. And stop blaming people about it. Stop blaming the government about it. Stop blaming society about it. It's your choice. You are the director of your own life, which is your own movie. If you are the director, then go to the editing room and start cutting stuff that you don't need and start living the way you want it to live.
Joseph, thank you very much.
About the whole world except yourself.
It's amazing stuff. I hope that I get to talk to you again. I know you've been on the show before. I would like to talk with you again. Anyone else who wants to talk with him one last time? soulvisionawakening.com. Joseph, thank you very, very much for the conversation today. It was quite enlightening.
Thank you, Ross. Thank you, Ross.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Of course my kid's in the right car seat. Well, I think he is.
Yeah, my kid's in a booster seat. He was ready to move up. He is ready, right?
Her car seat looks like the right size.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear facing, forward facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We are clear. I thank you so much for the conversation. I did interrupt you a couple of times. You got me really excited about this stuff. This is really wild. So thank you for being on our show and everything that you're doing. I hope I get to talk with you again.
All right. It was nice meeting you today, Russ, and had the pleasure being at your show. So,
likewise, pleasure
Bye.
here too. Bye, Joseph.
As an expert in over 35 years in energy, vibration, and frequency work, do you feel you are stuck with the same old energy in your health, in relationship, finance, or anything you desire to have? My name is Joseph Boutros Agape from Soul Vision Awakening. I created, based on my past experiences, quanta healing art meditation to empower you to heal, change, modify your old energy using energetic painting I created or commissioned to create for my client. If you like to practice the experience within my meditation, connect with me at soulvisionawakening.com/thank you.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.